What's crack-a-lacking, YouTube? It's me, Mr.Simon Says, and today I'll be doing my domain deck profile. Now, I got first place with this deck at my locals last night. I was only missing 2 cards from this exact build, and before I get things started, I would like to have a big thanks to TeamSamuraiX1 for kind of making this deck what it is. I didn't talk to him about it, but this is basically his deck. I'm only missing 3 cards from his deck, and that would be 2 Allures and 1 Karaz. And all I did was put in the Frost Blast and 2 Twin Twisters. That's literally the only changes from this deck. So this deck is very, very powerful, and even though people say it's not as good anymore, it's actually very, very good. It's still very relevant in today's meta. So I still think you need to side against this deck, and I still think you need to watch out for it, because it's a big hitter. So let's get right into it. First card you have is Arubis, the Underworld Monarch. This card is basically your big boss monster, and because of it, it's a very good card. You usually want to have it in hand or in grave 100% of the time. You really need this card in your hand or grave, because it can just set up so many different plays. The next card we have is the Thastalos. The reason why you have the Thastalos in this deck is because you can empty out 2 cards of your opponent's hand because of escalation, and you can do so many different plays with just the Thastalos, because you can just go, oh, let me look at your hand, and then just discard any random card that might be very, very problematic later on. So this is a good card in my opinion. The next card is Caius and Mega Monarch. The only reason why we run Caius and Mega Monarch at 1 is because it's searchable through return. And the reason is because it's 28,000. That's the reason why it's searchable through return. And it's very, very problematic for your opponent, because you just go tribute this during your opponent's turn because of escalation. And then you can go, okay, now I banished 2 cards on the field because I tributed a Dark Monster. Or I banish any card on the field. And that's just very, very problematic for a lot of decks right now. The next card is 1 Ether, the Heavenly Monarch. Since Ether got hit to 1, it's been very, very decent. It's like you don't need it anymore. That's the best part, because escalation really, really covers Ether's weaknesses now, which is just being at 1. So the next card is Vanity's Fiend. Vanity's Fiend is a very good card because it's Vanity's Fiend. Same goes for Majesty's Fiends. I mean, you get these 2 cards on the field, you can lock down your opponent, and you can win very, very, very easily. The next is 2 Karaz. 2 Karaz. I don't think you need any more or any less. 2 is like the perfect number. The reason why I took out 1 from TeamSamuraiX1's build is because, yes, it is a pot of greed, basically. But the problem with it is you have to have the right setup for it. Because you don't have a Squire or you don't have tribute fodder for it, it's kind of dead. Other than for the tenacity targets. So the next card we have is 3 Edios and 3 Edea. The reason why we run this engine, before I was running 2 Mithra and just taking out 1 Edios, but I needed to find more room. So I decided to put the 3rd Edios in, and I was playtesting it with it, and it seemed to be a very good engine. I mean, I think you all should know that by now, but the problem with it is that a lot of people are running Mithra, and now that the ban list has been hit, not a lot of people think that this engine is still good, because, or they think Monarchs are not good, excuse me. They don't think Monarchs are good because they got hit, but so they're dropping the effect failures, and then now they're like, oh, okay, now I should run this engine, and then it's at full power. So you can't effect failure or anything. The next card we run is 1 Allure of Darkness. The reason why I run 1 Allure of Darkness, other than trade him, because Allure of Darkness has more targets. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 targets, while in trade-in you only have 6 targets. So, yes, you're banishing your hand, but it can get you the consistency power that you need. And the reason why I took out 2 is because I only had 1 at the time, and because of the fact that you don't want to banish monsters too much. Yes, it's consistency power, but once you get your setup, you don't need it after that. The next card we have is 1/1 and 1 reinforcement of the army. These cards are very, very good. These search out your idea and special summon your idea. So when it comes down to it, I mean, that's what the whole plan is to get your ideas so that you can tribute them. And you can get pluses. Because idea, it gets back a banished spell or trap. So you can just do a lot of plays from there. Once you have one idea and one Aedios engraved, then you got the whole setup already. The next card we have is 1 Pantheism, since it got hit down to 1. So what the whole idea with Pantheism is you send it, usually if you have it in hand, you search it out with Tenacity. And then you banish it, get some pluses, and then add it back with idea. So it's the same thing, but except since you only have one, it's harder to do plays now, because now you can't just search out Pantheism off Pantheism, and then have them in hand, Scar the Prime, and do shenanigans. So that kind of sucks. But it's still a good, very, very good card, and it's needed at 1. The next card is 3 Tenacity of the Monarchs. 3 Tenacity of the Monarchs, it's a very good card. Searches out basically your whole Monarch or all of your Monarch spells or traps by having a Monarch in it. So it can be very, very, very useful at a lot of times. The only problem is I had with it is I kept on drawing multiples, and with no Pantheism, or can't search out the Pantheism because you have no Monarch in hand, then you're kind of screwed from there. But still good at 3. One reasoning. Most people call 8 when this happens, and when I activate the idea, it's basically GG from there, because now I get my tribute fodder, and if I have a Monarch in hand, tribute the idea. So it's basically like a free idea, unless you get the Rubus, and if you get the Rubus, it gets sent to grave, and then you can just pitch a Monarch spell trap, so it can tutor out for a lot of different cards, just this one reasoning. Same goes for Foolish Burial. I mean, send an Aedios, send an idea, send an Rubus, and you can do a lot of shenanigans from this one card. The next card is Frostblast of the Monarchs. The reason why I put this Frostblast of the Monarchs is because I hate back row, and it's easy, and I needed more targets to send. And I was like, you know what? I'll put in Frostblast because it could pop back row, it could pop monsters, and it could also. It's also good for sending the first time. And then we run 2 Twin Twister because I hate back row. The next card is the Monarch Stormforth. This card is still needed at 1. I mean, I was watching Deck Profile earlier. Some guy said you don't need Stormforth anymore because it's at 1, and he was ridiculous. I don't know what he was talking about. It was idiotic. But what the whole point is Stormforth is still a good card because it still deals with problematic cards. Yes, Rubus can do that. Yes, Kaius can do that. But Stormforth just helps you get around problematic boards. And if you don't have the tribute fodder in hand, you can do this plus domain, and then boom, you have a tribute fodder already. So the next card is 3 Return of the Monarchs. It's your searcher for the deck, and these two cards alone can basically win you the game. I'll tell you how. You tribute summon with return on the field. So you summon Idea, summon Aedios, tribute for Rubus, and you activate return, tribute for Rubus, activate Rubus effects, send Pantheism, send Prime. Now you get to search out with return, and then you get to search out with escalation. So next turn, during your opponent's turn, you can just go escalation. So now you do a lot of shenanigans from there. The next card we have is 3 Domain of the True Monarchs. So Domain of the True Monarchs is a very good card because it shuts down your opponent, and it can act as tribute fodder with Stormforth. So it's very, very good. It basically makes your bigger monarchs 1 tribute, and that's extremely good. But the most important effect is it locks down your opponent, which is very, very good in today's meta. I mean, it's good against Blue Eyes, Burning Abyss, PK Fire, basically you name it that summons it from the extra deck, and it just shuts it down. So the next card we have is 3 Escalation of the Monarchs. Escalation of the Monarchs is so good now. Now that Aether's at 1, this card is just extremely good. I mean, I was saying this yesterday that that because Monarch got hit, they got to show their true potential because now they can throw in three escalations, and now I was like, oh, this card's so good. Because now when I activate escalation, I can just interrupt my opponent's plays and do shenanigans from there. So that's very good. And then the last card we have is 2 Prime Monarchs. The reason why you don't need to run 3 anymore is because you can get Cloggy in your hand, and with Pantheism at 1, it can become very, very cloggy. So that's why you only run 2 of it now, and you really only need it to be sent to grave. And then the rest of the cards in my side deck are just cards that you could potentially run. I wouldn't suggest running them, but by all means, you can run them if you want. The 2 cards I have right now, because I don't have Thestalos or Caius, I need to get them still, which they're in the mail. I'm running 1 Maxi and 1 March. And the reason for that is because with the March combo, wait, let's just put it over here and so the March combo, if you have Magides or Vanities out, it's extremely good, and it can shut down your opponent because they can't do anything. And Maxi can just get you a bunch of draws, because sometimes the deck still bricks a lot more than usual, or a lot more than it did in the past, before the ban list. But the problem with it is, that is the problem with it. So with Maxi, send it to grave, draw a bunch of cards, and now you can set up. So that's it, people. Thank you for watching my deck profile of my Domain Monarchs. Again, I have to say special thanks to TeamSamuraiX1 for posting his deck profile of his Domain Monarchs, because this is where this whole idea came from. And yeah, this deck is extremely powerful. I mean, it's still a meta game contender, and if you're not careful, it will cut you down from your rope, and you go falling down into a pit of despair. So thank you all for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and until next time.